Coffee with LeadSMART. I'm Peter.
And I'm Scott.
Today we're going to tackle a simple question, but one we get way too often. What is the difference between a training certificate and the company's lead license?
This is a big one. Let's keep this conversation based in Massachusetts, all right? Not because the other states aren't important, it just gets confusing when you travel and all the terminology will change. The framework will stay the same, but the terminology will change, so today we'll talk Massachusetts. When you come to class and you spend 8 hours with either Peter or myself, you will walk out of class certified as a supervisor. The supervisor can run the project, can do the work, can even train employees up to the level of a lead safe worker, right? All kinds of things. But they all have to be working for a licensed company. And that's a huge distinction. You come to class to get your certificate, but the company needs a license. How do you get that license?
Well, first of all, there's an application you have to fill out that varies from state to state. In Massachusetts, it's quite detailed, and it should be for this type of work. It absolutely combines worker protection with occupant protection. So it's sweeping, but it's really what's necessary to do a good job at this. Once you fill out the application, guess what? There's a little bit of bribery going on. I mean, fee to pay. But that puts you in the game as a serious player. And that gives you the right to meet the obligation that you must be a licensed company in order to sign a contract to do this type of work.
So the real purpose of a license is to give you the authority to enter into a lead renovation contract.
Correct. As well as making sure that by you getting that license, you are well aware of all the obligations that the owner of that company is facing, regardless if his workers do it correctly or not.
So who needs a license?
Any company that performs lead renovation work or de-leading work for the lead phase of the entire project.
That sounds complicated.
It is. That's why I sent it back to you.
Okay, so we'll talk about lead phase on another day. When you are in the lead phase...
See how we missed that? You like that?
When we're in the lead phase, you better have your company licensed. Agreed?
Yes.
All right, what about GCs and subcontractors?
Ooh, this is a fun one. I run into a lot with people, contractors, GCs, who believe when they do a lead renovation project, say a removal of a kitchen and a bathroom and a bedroom or something, and there's going to be demo involved, and there's going to be this and this and this, that all they need to do is hire a lead licensed company to do the lead work, and they are legal because it sounds right. This is where your instincts are going to hurt you. It is not right. You, the GC, needed to have this company license before you signed that contract with the customer. Why? Because if it's built before 78, this law kicks in, unless you can prove certain things. You need to know what all that is. But your license says you know what you're talking about, and the people should trust you with the care of their home.
Okay, so what about reciprocity with other states?
Wow. So first of all, it's two different topics. One of them is for the training certificates, and one of them is for the company's license. Okay? Training certificates. They will be honored most likely by any state in the country. The difference is where you were trained. If the state you're working in has additional rules, my friend, that's up to you to know them. You always have the option of going to take the course over again in that state, but they're not forcing you to do that, even though it may make good sense. It's up to you to know the differences. Licenses, on the other hand, If depends on where you got licensed, where your company got licensed. If it's licensed in one of the 35 odd states that are all go by EPA's license, you could go by an EPA state to an EPA state, no problem. But when you're in a regulated state, there's I think 14 or 15 of them now, those licenses are state specific to where they're issued, meaning you can only work as a company where that license is honored. So it could be just Massachusetts. Could be, oh no, I'm in Rhode Island. That's a regulated state also. They have that license. Could be Connecticut. Oh, you're an EPA state. So it really depends on where you licensed your company, if it's going to be honored in another state.
So the need for your license is based entirely on the location of your project?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I can understand that.
Yes. Perfect.
All right.
One last thing. Folks, if this is like just not in your brain width to remember, here's an easier way to know if you have both pieces of paper in your hand. The one with your picture on it is your training certificate. If it does not have a picture on it, that is your company's license. Easiest way to remember the two. I understand it sounds so simple, but you'd be surprised how easy it is to confuse these details. You know, Scott, when I took my first lead training, it was 2.5 days. That was before the law kicked in, before the RRP law kicked in, and then the Mass LSR law kicked in. They basically gave us about 4 hours of additional items that we have to do, and told us to squeeze it into 8 hours. So if you're confused at the end of the day on these type of things, don't take a beating on that. There's an awful lot of details. Scott and I live in these laws, and that's why we can clearly tell you what is what. I don't expect a contractor to be that experienced in this law to be that familiar with these details. So we may make fun at you a little bit, but it's just in the purity of brotherhood of job sites.
And for the guys that are still a little bit confused, can they feel very confident after an 8-hour day with one of us, this topic will be hit in great detail?
Yes, but it doesn't mean it's the part you'll be awake. Folks, hopefully that helps you with this topic.